The Skaal might appear to be nothing more than savage Nords inhabiting the wilderness of Solstheim, but there's more to their way of life than meets the eye. In this video, I'm going to explain why, in reality, the Skaal are one of the most intelligent peoples in the Elder Scrolls. Firstly, there's the fact that the Skaal live in perfect harmony with nature. They might lack tall stone structures, an economy, and other hallmarks of a so-called advanced society, but you have to admire the Skaal for living a totally sustainable lifestyle. The Skaal don't believe in killing things for enjoyment. When they go hunting, they do so only when they need to. From their perspective, needless hunting would destabilize the natural order. When they kill an animal, they thank it for helping them to survive, and they only hunt those animals that best serve their needs. For instance, hawkers are a popular choice because their fat and bones have so many uses. By comparison, much like the societies of today, the average peoples of Tamriel use more materials than they need and carve out of the land what they wish. This isn't a sustainable way to live in the long term. Moreover, specifically by the time of Skyrim, the Skaal have an incredibly enlightened and pragmatic shaman called Storn Cragstrider who helps to lead them. A major part of the Dragonborn DLC questline involves finding out the Bend Will Shout from Hermaeus Mora, the Daedric Prince of Knowledge, but to do that, you have to convince Storn to divulge the Skaal's secret knowledge. Whilst many leaders would be reluctant to betray their way of life or to sacrifice themselves to help a stranger, Storn decided to sacrifice himself to the Skaal's sworn enemy, effectively surrendering in the age-long war the tribe have had with the Prince of Knowledge in order to save the world. Had the Dragonborn not learnt the Bend Will Shout, then he would arguably not have been powerful enough to defeat the first Dragonborn, Miraak, so Storn's actions likely saved all of Tamriel from coming under Miraak's thrall. The Skaal also ought to be commended for their personalities. The likelihood is that they're going to die out in a few decades, or maybe a century or so, as Raven Rock expands and the island's animals are slaughtered to feed its ever-growing people. Where many civilizations would thrash out in anger to restore their way of life or try to avert their fate, the Skaal seem mellow. Rather than resort to violence, they simply attempt to keep on living their life as peacefully as possible. You might argue that the Skaal are a failure of a people because their way of life is going to be eclipsed, but it depends on how you define success and failure. The Skaal are happy and live sustainably and in harmony with their surroundings. Despite their lack of amenities, they have a calm and sensible outlook of the world most other humans lack. They're one of the few societies of people that genuinely seem content. Part of this stems from their belief in the Allmaker, who is the Skaal's central deity. Unlike most other people on Tamriel, the Skaal aren't polytheists. The term for their religion would be panentheism. This is the belief that the world is part, though not all of, God. This isn't to be confused with pantheism, where one believes that God is identical with the world and reality. The Skaal believe that the Allmaker does encompass everything in the world, but that he also extends beyond it. This means that everything is sacred to the Skaal. Vegetation, other people, and animals are all of the Allmaker. According to Skaal religion, when a creature dies, its spirit returns to the Allmaker to be shaped into something new. The Skaal believe this happens to humans too. The concept of death as an ending to life is completely alien to them, so the reason they are unwilling to be violent and kill others for sport is because that person or animal might be their father's father or some sort of distant relative. Moreover, the Skaal practice a crude form of democracy which is commendable. Like how the Jarls of Skyrim might choose the High King, the members of the Skaal village choose their new leader through a vote. It isn't hereditary, but where only Skyrim's political elites can elect their ruler, all adults within the Skaal village, that is to say about 90% of them, choose their new leader. This is one of the key reasons why their way of life has survived for so long. Irresponsible leaders aren't thrust upon the Skaal through a hereditary line of succession. Instead, they elect the leader that best suits them. But of course, elections don't always go to plan, and candidates can often be quite divisive. This can be seen in the DLC for Morrowind, Blood Moon, where the chief of the Skaal village is in fact a werewolf. Another point about the Skaal is that they dress appropriately for their climate. This might seem to be a funny thing to say, but Solstheim isn't that much further north of Skyrim. I know that Nords have a natural resistance to cold, but it's kind of dumb that so many Nords wander around the north of Skyrim in just their shirt and trousers. The Skaal are dressed much more appropriately for their climate in fur clothes that cover and insulate the whole body. Thank you for watching this video. I've mentioned this on my last video, but these videos are pre-uploaded, so I don't have the pressure of doing YouTube during term time at uni. So whilst it might look like I'm ignoring your suggestions, I'm not deliberately, it's just that I can only really make videos during the holidays. If you didn't know, I now upload videos Saturday evenings, roughly about 7 PM GMT. Anyway, thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.